All right, guys. So thank you all for joining our today's session. Today's session number 8. We're gonna do anonymous mock interviews with the hiring managers for quality assurance engineering positions. And I want to welcome our managers. We have 2 managers who are brand new and just onboarded, and we have 2 managers who I'm very thankful that you are participating again, and that's awesome. So the first, I want to introduce Roman Balakin. He's a QA manager at M4 Mobile Search. Hey, Roman, you want to say a couple few words? I don't know.
Sure, yeah. Hi, everybody. Looking forward to today's session and happy to meet everyone virtually.
Awesome. Lucy Itterman, she's a senior QA engineer at Amazon. This is very valuable and interesting experience. And I'm more than happy to have you on board, Lucy.
Thank you. Hey, guys.
We have fresh but not least experienced Edith Reyes. She's a senior director of quality assurance at OpenX here in LA area. Hi, Edith.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Looking forward to just sharing this experience with everybody.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much. And we also have a new to our group, managers group, Tejasvi Anugu, QA engineering manager at the team companies. You're muted.
Yeah, I just figured it out. Hey, hi, everybody. I'm really excited for this and hope we get some good feedback for everybody.
Awesome. Awesome. A quick disclaimer for anyone who is the first time. So this is event is for educational purposes. So all our managers, they are active right now and they're working at their companies, but they do not promising any job opportunity or they do not represent their companies. Just keep it in mind. This is not non-profit event solely for I would say this is, we all do volunteering our time here, and yeah, just keep it in mind. Okay, let me tell how it works, how our sessions will be working, right? So we have today about 4 candidates, and we have 5th one. If we'll have time, we'll take the 5th one. So each candidate will have about 20 minutes, and each candidate has to prepare for 2 questions. The first question will be, tell me about yourself, and the second questions will be, what did you do at your last project? So the limit of those 2 questions will be 4 minutes. I will be recording the time, and we'll be tracking the time. Okay. If you hear the bell, so that means time's up. And our managers will be asking the follow-up questions, whatever they asking during their real interviews. And then each candidate will get their real feedback, what went well and what they should improve. All right. If anyone who is first time and wondering how they can participate in our mock interviews, just check in our meetup group. The whole process is written there. You have just to sign up in the Google form and join to our Slack channel, and you have to participate in our onboarding session. Onboarding session is basically we explain the logistics, how to participate, right? So it's not like whoever just come here and can participate. Yeah, we have some certain process before doing this. However, we do not filtering any of our candidates. So as soon as you have your real resume and you want to get feedback, you are welcome. Here is only our first come, first serve. That's it. And I think we can start. Do we have, let me stop sharing my screen. And do we have candidate number 1 ready? Oh, hold on, give me 1 second. Let me make Irina co-host. Ira, you can add candidate number 1 now. Candidate number 1. Hi.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. So you can share your screen.
All right, give me a sec.
Sure.
All right. All right, can everybody see my screen? So I had to combine 2 pages. So on the left, you can see page 1 and on the right, page 2.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay, candidate number 1, you have 4 minutes and please tell us about yourself and your last project.
So first of all, I want to say thank you for sharing your time. Thank you for having me here. I'm really excited to be the first one on today's session. So I'm a manual QA analyst with 2 years of experience, and I came to this field in a weird way. I transferred from teaching and translation through my passion to puzzles and games. So I started working in escape room industry 4 years ago as a manager, where I ended up creating, designing escape rooms from scratch myself. And this is where I faced software testing for the first time. So having successfully delivered a quality product, I made a decision to further develop myself in QA. And my last project was a CMS and mobile app for closed captions and subtitles in the theaters. And as a QA analyst, I was responsible for creating and managing test documentation, performing functional, non-functional testing with close collaboration with my team, including smoke, regression, UX, UI, and so on. So currently, I'm looking for a new opportunity to continue growing in this field. Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Awesome. That was really quick. Any follow-up questions? Let's.
Well, I can tell you about my last project if you want.
Oh yeah, of course.
Give you more details.
I thought you included there. Okay.
Yeah, I just get a brief description. So my last project was a mobile app for closed caption and subtitles in the theaters. We worked with a lot of theaters in the US and also London and Australia. And it also included a company's website and CMS. So I was a junior QA analyst together with another specialist, and our team included 4 developers, product manager, project manager. We also had DevOps, head of operations, and sales manager. And my daily responsibilities included preparing test cases, for which I used obviously TestRail, and performing manual functional and non-functional testing on latest versions of Android and iOS, as well as participating in sprint meetings such as planning, stand-up, review, retrospective. Our app used an open source voice recognition technology based on machine learning. So I also had to test this in a special way on the app. We also worked on a new product, closed captions for movies. But unfortunately, due to the world pandemic, the company stopped operations as all theaters and as well as cinema theaters around the world announced their closure at least to the beginning of next summer. Yeah, that's it. I'm happy to answer all follow-up questions.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Who want to start first?
I can start. Hi, candidate number 1. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
My question is that what do you think is your biggest contribution to this project?
Well, there are some bugs I'm really proud of. And one of them included when I run a test on Android for a 180-minute show, because the average time of the show was 90 minutes. And nobody really tested this on Android on a 180-minute show, because that was pretty, like, I would say those shows were like 10% of all we managed. And so I insisted on doing this, and this is where I realized that app crashes after 120 minutes, as well as consuming battery a lot. And our developers fixed it. And as well as I helped and I contributed to improving UX and UI, and UX in terms of navigating the catalog of the app, and UI in terms of improving the font color, which was more convenient for our customers to use and do not interfere with other customers in the theaters.
And what was the biggest challenge you ran into working on this project?
The biggest challenge was because when I joined the product, I was just an aspiring QA analyst and I had to learn. So we had another QA analyst who was based in a different country. So there was really nobody to mentor me being a QA on this particular project. So I had to learn a lot about things that I never learned about. And I think I achieved this goal finally.
That sounds very familiar to our job.
How did you go about doing that? How did you go about mentoring yourself?
Well, I had to be more organized, but as I came from teaching, I know how to do this process. So I gave myself tasks and time to manage those tasks, as well as everyday schedule. I can do this. And I also had to give myself some time to rest, because this is, I think, very important to refresh your brain to get more information.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hey, hi. It's so weird to say candidate number one, but hi, hello.
Hi to Jaswi.
Hi. So I see that you said that your focus was on cross-platform and you were testing Android and iOS and cross browsers like Chrome, Safari, Firefox, everywhere. So was it a real devices you were testing, or were you using any cloud-based platform to test all this?
So for real devices, yes. For cross-browser testing, I had like a MacBook and I had Windows laptop, and I had around 10 mobile phones, which I had to bring to the theaters and test on all of them. And that was the most challenging part, because I had to bring real devices, as the network connection of our app was. So first 10% of functionality is when a customer picks a show and theater was enough, like 2G to join it. But the rest was happening on theater's network. And due to a lot of legal issues, our team did not have any access to this network. And if something goes wrong, our developers had to speak to the theater's managers and engineers to fix that. So to test network in the theaters, I had to bring the devices in there. And that was really time consuming, but that was an integral part of the work.
Yeah, I understand. So can you elaborate on the integration testing? Like what kind of integration testing were you performed in your previous project?
So yeah, that was a developing feature of product that we brought. So we used Epson as augmented reality glasses, where a person can put them on and see the show and subtitles and closed captions at the same time. So I also had to organize test groups for this as well, to test this on people who wore glasses. And as far as I know, they integrated this on Android, because Epson is running on Android.
Okay, so how did the testing process go? Like, I mean, did you get to test the DB side and then API side and then the web side, or did you directly jump onto the web side of testing? Or I mean, I just wanted to know, like, how did the testing processes went? Like, if the developer said something is ready, then how did that take in place?
So for CMS, I had to run some API tests, because we always stored all data about theaters, like phone numbers and slides. Like that was really the most, I think, space-consuming data for us, because each theater has around 2,000 slides for each show. So I had to test this in CMS, because as CMS was developing, and we only admitted, I think, 10 or 15 theaters to edit this. So it was a special process. So if they want to make some changes in the slides, in the lines, which actors say, they have to submit this, and then administrator has to approve it. But for some features, they did not need an approval. So I had to test this, if they can post this on the database in our CMS through the API testing. So just checking our APIs if they were working.
Yep. Okay. One last thing, like in QA, most of the times it happens to, I believe that it will happen to every person in a QA department, where you feel that this bug is so important and potential bug, and where we couldn't deploy without fixing it. Did you face any such situations with your previous project?
Oh yeah,
Where you
like
believe it's a bug, but developers doesn't?
Yes, it happened when you believed someone was really important, but others did not. But in my last project, I managed to prove that was important, and I proved it by testing this on a bigger group of real customers who said, yes, I like this font better, or I like this navigation better. And on the previous project before that, in the escape rooms, as I've been to like over 100 escape rooms around US, and I always saw how people can improve escape rooms and make it more user-friendly and more beautiful and more well-working. I did not realize why they did not do this. So when I was a creator and designer of the escape rooms myself, yes, I had some discrepancies in opinions with my team who thought, oh no, this is fine, we're gonna leave it like this. And yes, I had to insist. But sometimes I was wrong as well. And my last project, my team explained to me that this is not really important right now. We can fix it later. Nothing's terrible is going to happen. And it took me some time to accept this, that sometimes I can be wrong. But I did.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I probably will go next with my questions. On your resume, I saw that you mentioned the SQL, but you didn't tell anything like according to your experience. How did you use it and why you put this to your resume?
Well, I did not have a chance to use SQL as I'm learning it now. I'm really excited about it, and I like what I can do now. After taking some courses. At my previous project, we use MongoDB, which is really different from SQL. This is a non-SQL. So I wanted to find out how SQL works. And I know this is in high demand in the field, and I think it's just going to add to my resume. And I hope I can use it in my next project.
Got it. And if you need to work with two tables, how you will manage that using their SQL?
Using joins? Well, it depends on which data I need to select.
Yeah, okay. Can you tell me a little bit more what you know about the joins and how you use the join?
Well, we use a join when you need to combine data from two or more tables, and we can combine them using primary keys that were using primary keys and foreign keys, using statement select, and then outer join, right outer join, left outer join, or inner join. And we mention on, and then we give the keys.
Got it. Yeah, I actually want to hear what kind of join you know, but you even describe more than I expect. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy.
Hey, I have a question about JSON, which you put in the tools section. So can you please provide an example maybe of a payload, or at least talk a little bit more like how and where you maybe used it?
We stored all information in JSON format as MongoDB requires that. So for each theater, for example, let's take all the slides, a theater section. We had a separate document that were joined in collections. And we need to make some changes sometimes. Sometimes there were quick fixes. For example, a new translation was added, and it needs to be edited in JSON and added to the database. So I can make like a simple document in JSON, and I can do some selects and inserts. And I know like the structure, the syntax, but just the basic one. And for MongoDB, I did not use Terminal. So we used Studio 3T, which has a visual mode to select data. But of course, I know how to find the IDs, which are auto incremented by JSON and Mongo. So yeah, so I can do that, just do arrays, insert, do some selects.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. If you guys don't have any other follow-up questions, we can move with the feedback. I want to give the feedback first.
I can go first. At first, I want to mention that I like the energy and the passion, like what you feel and how you feel about the QA. Your story was really interesting, how you become to that field. According to your resume, I actually suggest you to change it a little bit, just the format, because it's a lot of white space. And I believe like the information that you have, you can put to one page, not to separate to the two. And if you actually take a look to the second page, you have like the half of the page is empty. And when you print it, like, I don't know, this is probably just me, but I don't like the white space on the resume, especially when it comes from the left side. But this is just a suggestion. The overall, I'm really excited with your experience and with your passion about the QA and with your energy. Good luck with your search.
Thank you so much.
I can go next. I concur with the energy, and I also really like the fact that you brought up your previous experience, even though it's not QA analyst. But I just really like how you said, you know, you were a teacher, and that really taught you to use time management, and that was a skill set that you utilized in your current position. So I thought that was a really good example. Nitpicking on the resume is that there's just a lot of inconsistencies with the capitalization of words. I think it would be really good to just make them consistent. For example, you have here collaborated with the developers, senior QA analyst, project manager to define quality expectations. Senior QA analysts and project managers are uppercase, but developers not. So I think that just tweaks like that would be really good.
I'm sorry, developers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then there's also like the integration tests and stuff like that, right? I think just like having that consistency would be good. And also, I really agree with what Lucy said about the white spaces. Especially, to be completely honest, there's not a lot of the QA experience. So having everything on one page is going to be really a lot easier for the managers to review your resume.
Thank you so much.
Roman or Tejasvi?
Sure. Yeah, a lot has already been said. I can add to this that yes, it was really awesome. I think how you showcased the transition from the escape room stuff to the QA. Some of the things that I would advise to maybe change a little bit is the first paragraph. I think it's a little bit too cliche and there's not as much information about yourself, so you can make it a lot better. And then also like such as SQL, for example, put in tools which you don't have much experience with. It's another thing.
Thank you.
So I kind of agree with what everybody said, but I think the positive side to look about is your transition, and it's just been 18 months. You've been in a quality department, and I think you are in a right way. Like, you're progressing, you are learning, and it's and you definitely narrated us your story from teacher to escape room manager to the quality analyst, and it was definitely a lot of energy, and we see that excitement in you, your passion towards QA, and that's definitely awesome. Coming to the resume, yes, I think the first paragraph is something which is, for me, when I see the resumes, the first paragraph is what my eye gets to. So as Roman said, yeah, I think you can change that little more to make it look much better. Yep, it's all good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you all very much for this. I really appreciate it.
I just want to add about like the SQL part. I think you did a great job about explaining, but yeah, what Lucy and Roman said, if you don't have that much experience, you should put your SQL or MySQL experience somewhere in the bottom if you just want to mention it, because as my understanding that everything which is on the top, it makes like more important, and it means for me that you have more experience with that rather than everything else, right? So if you just started and you actually could explain it, I think pretty well, you would just put it in, somewhere in the bottom, in maybe even in the other, right? Yeah, but other than that, I would be happy to invite you to for the further process in the interview. Anyway,
right.
and good job, candidate number one. Being the first is always the most stressful, and you should have a lot of courage. Yeah. Thank you very much, and good luck with everything. And let's keep in touch. All right.
All right. Thank you, Evgeny. I can't put into words how grateful I am for this opportunity. And I think what you're doing is it's awesome. So hopefully maybe in a year I can join to you hiring managers team to help you with this. All right. Thank you.
I like this attitude.
Thank you, everyone.
Good job. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, let's move forward. And guys, please note it like that we have 4 candidates, and in the end we'll do a poll like which candidate do you like the most, and I will ask so our participants will be voting and our managers will be voting separately, so we will see different outcomes, which is very interesting. And I said that before in our previous sessions that this view doesn't, I would say, not really matched with actually expectations from managers. So you should also keep this in mind. So what managers are expecting is not the same what do you like in the other candidates, or like what are you expecting. So I hope that will help you out with real interviews. All right, candidate number 2, are you ready?
Yeah, good morning to you. I'm ready.
Good morning. So please share your resume. And
can you see it?
Yes, I can see it. You have 1-page resume, right?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. All right, so you have 4 minutes, and please tell us about yourself and your last project.
Good morning to everyone. Thank you very much for this chance. So I'm quite new person to IT world. I started my IT career about 1 year ago when I created my first website for electric company in Los Angeles. When I decided to check why I cannot promote this website in internet, I was surprised at how many mistakes I have inside. And that's why I took a couple courses about HTML. Then I created one more site for another company, and I was more successful. And I think those mistakes brought me to education, and quite recently, about months ago, I accomplished IT bootcamp and got skills of manual tester. For today, I started one more course. It's Java automation. I'm just still curious about this profession and keep learning about this. Also, I have my previous work experience. Before that, I've been team manager of one movie company. It was movie startup, and my main responsibility was to manage people. So my accomplishments with this company was I found people. It was about 50 people. I created a movie from script, and I launched an advertising company for this project. Before moving company, I was lawyer about 13 years in bank, and my main responsibility was to represent bank in courts. I won about 90% of court trials against debtors, and I managed the work of 3 divisions. Why did I mention my previous work experience? Because I got very necessary skills for IT world, such as attention to details and possibility to see the reason of the problem. Teamwork, I have huge experience with this. And also I'm able to find one or several solutions to solve situations. So it's about my previous work experience. About my last project, I wish to say a little bit more about my real project, but unfortunately for today, I have only simulation of a real project. It was in IT bootcamp. This project was online web store where we checked how it works and find bugs on web and mobile with like popular tools such as Chrome DevTools, Charles Proxy. If something goes wrong, we found these mistakes and report those mistakes, and like this. So this is short brief about my previous experience. I'm ready to everything.
Right. Thank you very much. Who want to start with the follow-up questions?
I can start.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, candidate number 2. So let's say you have a Google search bar, and how would you test it?
At first, I think we can divide into 2 parts, positive and negative testing. It depends what we want to find. If this search bar allows us to put any information, we can put any information. In this case, we will have positive and negative testing. How many? We can use different testing techniques such as boundary testing, equivalence testing, the technique of table decisions, or ad hoc testing. So we can follow these main techniques. It can be almost unlimited list of different testing.
Okay, thank you.
Can I continue with the question related to that? So you mentioned the boundary condition testing, but for the Google search, how did you, like what the boundary you will check?
We will try to put at least something less than 1, which means 0 or nothing, and put enter. Does it work or not? We can try to put maximum values, such as like 100 numbers in this field. Does it work or not? So in this case, we will try to use this technique.
How do you know what is the maximum values?
Only manually. We can put until we have unlimited time.
Got it. Cool. Thank you.
I have a question. Candidate number 2, in your resume, you have gray box and black box testing. Can you tell me the difference between the 2 and give me specific examples of the gray box and black box testing you have done for your specific project?
Okay, thank you. So yes, I had experience with black box and gray box testing. It was testing online store in IT bootcamp. Black box testing when we, for example, try to make order and we do not put anything into the basket and place order. This is one of the example of black box testing, because we don't know what's going on inside. Gray box testing when we use, for example, Chrome DevTools, and when we reproduce the same steps and see if something okay or not. So, for example, if we open Chrome DevTools, we can see background of this page. Was our request successful, like 200s or 400s? This is one of the examples of gray box testing. And like white box, if when I got Java, I will explain you later what is white box testing.
Thank you.
I would go next. Hi, candidate number 2. Can you tell me about you said on your resume, execute API tests with Postman and Swagger. Can you elaborate what kind of tests you performed? What
Okay.
methods?
Thank you. So what we did with API, we worked with with Swagger and Postman. In Swagger, we created, it was something similar to online store. It was web store. We created new orders with Swaggers with like main methods of API, like get, put, post, delete. And the same steps we reproduce in Postman, but in this case, we didn't have any interface, such as we had in Swagger. And in this case, we used JSON language to send request, to see response, to delete information or update information. So this is what we did with API.
Can you give me the difference between the UI testing and the API testing?
UI testing is something similar to black box testing. This is usability, how comfortable, easy, and understandable for users to use any application. And API testing, we use another layer of web applications, such as there are 3 levels, such as client, server, and database. With API, we use a second level of web application, which is server layer. And we can find mistakes if something is wrong, like this.
Thank you.
All right, I think.
Can I ask you? Sorry, the last
Yeah,
question.
go ahead. Yeah, we have time. We have time.
Thank
Yes.
you. Yeah, you mentioned just TestRail, and I know that you just complete the bootcamp, and I'm just wondering for which features in TestRail did you use, and how you use your TestRail in the experience.
Thank you. So it was something similar to Jira, but in TestRail, we created test cases. We run test cases, and we created bugs. So we reproduce almost the same actions that we did in Jira, just for tracking bugs, and that's it.
Got it. Cool. Thank you.
All right. Let's. Anybody else want to ask any questions, or anybody else want to give feedback? Let's move with the feedback. Lucy, do you want to open it?
Yep. Yeah, I can. So first of all, I want to thank you for being honest. Like you didn't mention like the fake experience. You were very honest and say that you just complete the bootcamp. Regarding to my question to the TestRail, I really suggest you to take a look to the TestRail, because this is not the similar as a Jira. It has the different purpose to use. And when I ask like what kind of what are you doing with TestRail, I kind of expect that you will say that you will create the test cases, and also you create the test run, and then you go through the test run during your manual testing. But this is definitely not the kind of like the same as a Jira. And this is what like for me, it will be the sign that you probably do not have like much experience if you are misunderstood like their purpose of their main tool that manual QA is using. But this is just the suggestion from my side. But overall, I really like how you handle the all questions that manager ask you. Good job and good luck with your search.
Thank you.
I can go next. So first of all, I would start with correcting all the grammar mistakes in the resume. There are a lot. Some is like attention to details, or CSQL. Not sure how to read it. Queries, because it's not queries. Also, some things as find and track bugs in Jira and TestRail. It conveys an idea that you can find bugs, and you cannot really do that neither in Jira nor in TestRail, right? So another thing, you said JSON language, so it's more of a file format. not a language. And overall, the other thing I would say, so for the when I asked the question about the how you would test the search bar, it doesn't really matter what you are given as a project. The first thing you should ask is about requirements, what the requirements are. And if there are no requirements, then you can assume something, and then you can move based on what your experience and expertise is in the field.
Okay.
Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. And so, yeah, I think the impression I got from a lot of the answers you provided were a lot of buzzwords. There were a lot of terminologies that you threw out. However, they were not practical knowledge that backed it up with the terminologies that you provided. I think it'll be really good to get deeper knowledge of these terms that you are using, and preferably to provide real life examples of that. That will demonstrate much better of your experience and your skill set. Second feedback is that for your resume, you have software QA engineer with manual testing. But I don't quite see the engineer part in your resume, in your experience. So, you know, if you have that, I would suggest you to add that to the resume.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I ask you one question?
Yeah.
I just, based on your experience, I don't have real experience as QA tester, but my previous experience you can see on my resume. For real world, should I mention my previous experience as a lawyer, or better to remove this? Because many people, they do not understand how is it possible that you were so many years as a lawyer and then you quit.
In my personal opinion, I would leave the lawyer experience out. What I would add in is the projects that you have done to demonstrate your skill set, your experience that's relevant to the job that you're looking for.
Thank you.
Yep. So I would go next. So my suggestion would be for, I think you need to try practicing more on any like day-to-day, wherever you kind of land onto your web applications or a mobile apps. These days, like every day, there might be like 10 different applications we come across. So every time you go there, probably you should start looking at in a QA and then see how if you were given that as your project, then how do you test it? I think start practicing with a real examples, with as if a real customer or a real in a QA shoes. That will give you some live scenarios for you to demonstrate, because you are right from the boot camp from the manual knowledge, whatever you need, like the book knowledge, you got it. And now it's time for you to experience how it comes when it's a real testing world. So you can do that practices with any Amazon or Google, as we just said, with the search bar, with a little examples here and there, and probably try to write your own test cases and evaluate. So that would be my feedback. Yep.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, guys. I just want to add something that for any QA graduates or any transition people who don't have prior experience in QA, it's always it's the hardest. It's basically, they have to do, the pressure is tremendous, obviously, because first of all, you don't have a real experience, and the second one, it's an interview job, right? Even for experienced guys, interview is very stressful, but for less experience, it's even more stressful. So based on that, you should do a lot of homework before actually going to that. However, I very encourage you actually that you are doing the mock interviews and you're trying to put your foot out of the door and trying to go for the interview. That's a good practicing, but you should do your homework, which is Roman just said. the perfect example. Your resume won't be picked up because you have those pretty, simple mistakes, which usually you can fix it right away. Just paste it in a Grammarly app or something like that. Or these kind of things specifically for QA, it should not be happen, right? The second thing that I want to elaborate what Edith said, that you have a lot of buzzwords, but you don't really understand the meaning, or maybe you don't have deep understand of the meaning. So I would rather focus something on the more simple, and what Raman just asked you, very simple questions. How would you test that? This is very common question, actually. And as a QA person, you should obviously come up with more questions. You should know what you're doing, right? But it sounds like you don't really know what you're doing. It sounds like you just try to jump on and do testing, but it's not how it works. In terms of how to get a real experience, also there is a lot of resources, such as I said it many times, U-Test, right? You even can get paid for that. Another thing, there is other crowdsourcing resources. So yeah, basically do your homework, but the courage that you have, the attitude that you have, it's definitely, I have a strong, I would say, opinion that you will get it. You will get it, right?
Can I also add, like, regarding to your question that your previous experience as a lawyer, I think like you can include that because, as I understand, you worked as a lawyer in a different country, so it's okay. And I believe like everyone here in US will understand why you didn't like continue to work here as a lawyer, because your experience like didn't relevant here in that country. But try to think about the lawyer experience from the QA perspective. You still working with some tools as a lawyer at a bank, especially. So just think of that experience, what you actually do as a QA during your work, and try to put that to your resume. But I would say, like, I'm okay to see that, and I think like that transition, it's very okay to have, just because you switch the countries, and here, especially for lawyers, it's a different rules, it's different, like completely different knowledge that you have to continue with this job. So for me, it's okay to have that in the resume if I'm right that you worked as a lawyer in a different country.
It's very subjective. Yeah, you see, some people can say that it's okay to see it. Some people can say, from my opinion, it causes more questions, not necessarily questions. That's what I would say. If you can explain really, like from QA perspective, yeah, that's, as Lucy said, that's totally normal. But it's just asking, it causing the questions that you maybe don't want. Anyway, thank you very much, and let's move forward. I think we gave a lot of feedbacks today. Okay, you can stop sharing the screen, and we have candidate number 3. Do we have? All right, I see candidate number 3 just joined, and oh yeah, and I saw the question like where I can access to the recording. Ira, could you please post on the channel, our YouTube channel? So just subscribe, and we post all our videos over there. Okay, candidate number 3, are you ready?
Yes, hello.
Hi. Okay, so we have for you, as usual, 2 questions. Tell us about yourself and your last project, and you have 4 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon and good morning to everyone. So first of all, I would like to say thank you very much for this opportunity to introduce myself here today and to participate in this mock interview meetings. This is really great. So I'm really happy and excited to be here. I have been in quality assurance industry for over 2 years. I came to this profession from education industry, actually. I was working as a tutor and also was collaborating with few IT companies, providing them detailed translation reports for their project. And one company offered me a localization engineer position in their company. That's basically how my QA career started. For the past year, I have been working remotely for a company in Belarus. My main responsibilities at the current position are creating test documentation, such as test cases and bug reports using TestRail and Jira. Also, I perform different types of testing, such as regression testing, smoke testing, integration testing. My most projects are web app, but also I understand how important mobile testing is, especially nowadays when everyone is using their smartphones. So I'm taking right now online course about it at Udemy. And right now I feel that I'm ready to move forward and start my QA career here in the USA. That's what brings me here today. And what about my last project? It was also at a company in Belarus. We were developing a web app for a store that sells auto parts. My QA team included 3 developers, 1 QA and 1 project manager. So as you understand, I was the only QA in the team. I was involved in also writing test cases using TestRail. While testing, I found bugs, I reported them to Jira. We were working by Scrum, so I was attending daily Scrums and was participating in sprints retrospectives after every 2-week sprint. And my biggest accomplishment on that project was to create a script on Selenium IDE to decrease time for regression testing. That's basically it.
Thank you. Do you want to start with the follow-up questions?
I can start.
Okay.
Candidate number 3. So the first question I have for you is, give us an example of a time when you were struggling with reproducing a bug, how that looked like.
Basically, I did not struggle with the problem to reproduce a bug. Sometimes I got bug reports returned to me with a note from the dev team that they cannot reproduce the bug. That basically it. And my next steps were to make sure that these bugs still exist, first of all, because sometimes it could happen when they fix the bug, another one got fixed automatically. So after that, I was making sure that all the steps are written clear for them, and like there is no problem to understand them. After that, the third step, I was making sure that there are any attachments or like videos that make my report more even clear. So after I do all the changes, I send back the bug report, and that's basically it.
Okay, awesome. Can you pick any bug that you found and reported recently and describe how a bug report looked like?
Basically, the regular bug reports consist the description, the title, the description, the steps, the expected result, and the actual result. Also, there are some notes. Also, you need to assign this to any of the developers. Also, you need to evaluate this bug and to choose the priority of the bug. You need to put some notes and some attachments.
Thank you.
I think Roman asked like an example that what is a bug report.
So you need to, maybe I didn't understand the question. Can you please repeat? You want me to give you the full bug report right now or what?
Just an example, like what did you report recently? What kind of issue, unique issue or interesting
Okay,
issue?
I can tell you about one of my bugs that I'm really proud of it. It's the bug not basically that I found as a customer, not as a QA. I found it recently, maybe like 2 months ago. I was searching on Zillow, like during the pandemic, maybe there are some cheap houses to buy. I found in Miami listing of houses where the open hours for the house on the preview page doesn't match the actual hours when you go into this listing actually. And I reported this bug as well to Zillow, and basically the steps to reproduce this bug were like open Zillow app, search for open house listings, then you need to note the preview listing time on this bug. After that, you need to open the listing and check the actual time in the listing. And then I need to show the expected result that the listings match on the preview page and the actual listing page, but the actual result was that the timing didn't match. Why I'm so proud of this bug? Because it was reproducible only on iPhone app, so only on this. It was not on the Android, so I was checking both devices, also laptop. The second of all, this bug was reproducible, I guess, only in PST zone. That's what I also mentioned to this bug report. So that's what I'm really proud of, and if this still doesn't cover your question, just let me know.
I mean, you was working for 2.5 years, right? You said, and the bug that you're proud of was something that you was as a customer. Give me more questions than answers, honestly. But other than that, anybody else?
Yeah, I have a question. So you mentioned that you work for the company in Belarus, but from what I understand, this is a really large time difference. How did you manage that? Because like this is 7 or 8 hours difference. How you guys work as a team? What was your schedule?
Yes, sure. So basically, how did we work? I didn't attend the daily scrum that they had in the morning. I only was attending all other meetings during the day. That basically it.
But I mean, how, if you have a question, for example, for developers, or developers have a questions to you, how that collaboration happens between you guys?
We are using Slack for any communication, so we are always in touch. But the only thing that I was missing was the first daily scrum. But during the day, I was always available and I was always in contact with them.
Got it. And you worked like your US hours, or you try to work like their hours, like how your schedule was looking?
I was trying to work their hours, but of course it's a little bit complicated. So like I was waking up like 7 a.m. Of course not at night, but really early.
Got it. Got it. Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Kennedy, oh, no, go ahead.
Yes, hello.
Yep, just a continuous question to what Lucy asked. So when this work schedule has an issue, then you said you are not attending the daily scrums, and this is an agile environment where you're working on. And how did you handle a situation where you were not able to meet your sprint goals and it's the end of the sprint, and how do you manage that?
We have a project manager, and I was always in contact with him if I have any questions. That's not as complicated as someone can imagine.
Okay, thank you.
Candidate number 3, on your resume, you have performed smoke usability and integration testing. Can you describe to me what stage of the sprint or what stage of the project did you conduct those tests, and how, what were the circumstances? Like, what were the goals?
So basically, regression testing, you are testing the, do you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so regression testing, you are testing before each release. Every time, like smoke testing, you test only main functionalities.
Don't worry, take a deep breath. Maybe drink some water.
Maybe I'm not sure that I
like
understand
what
the
we do.
question correct. Yeah.
Or you could just describe to me what is the definition for each of the testing or tests you have put in your resume, such as smoke, usability, integration, regression. So I heard the regression one already, very good. Can you just describe to me the smoke, usability, integration, please?
Sure, the smoke testing is just the quick, usually it takes not more than 15 minutes testing. You check the main functionalities work properly. The integration testing, when you integrate the, for example, payment system, you need to make sure that it was integrated well and it works properly. Usability testing, it's the product is comfortable for user and it's everything understandable.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Everybody done with the questions? Maybe we can move with the feedback. Roman, do you want to start first? Since
Okay.
Oops.
Where to start? So first off, same thing. A lot of typos and grammatical mistakes. And starting from the title, the engineer is misspelled. The other thing, use DevTools to inspect XPath. I don't know what's XPath. I think what you meant was XPath. And some other things. What else? Well, and then I think we already covered it, but example of a bug you've reported recently. Yes, so there was a big fail. So just you shouldn't stumble upon this. This is a very simple question, and
Okay.
Just be ready to pick any of the bugs and just come up with how the bug report was. Yeah, that's all I have.
The feedback I have is that I think everybody gets really nervous doing interviews. I think it's completely okay to just take a breather, just take a deep breath, and then refocus or reset. And trust me, the interviewers are completely understanding of interviewees being nervous. It's completely understandable, and we are all very, very forgiving of that. It's okay. And I've actually had interviewees say, you know what, I'm really nervous right now. I'm sorry. It's like, it's completely okay. So don't be nervous. And my other feedback is that there's also, I just felt like your answers were not very detailed. It was a lot of just one-liner that didn't really answer the questions or show your contribution to the success, or whatever the task was. So I think that by digging in a little deeper and providing more specifics, I think would be really helpful.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I will go next. I probably will tell the same. Like you nervous so much and you can feel it. You start really good, like with your describing who you are, with your experience, with your previous project. But then when the question comes up, like you probably start nervous a little bit more. And I know that this is so hard, like to stop nervous. And this is not the really good advice, like stop nervous and continue to do your interview. But probably the practice will solve that problem. Try to practice more. Ask yourself your questions regarding to your resume or something like that. Try to talk more. And after that, after you repeat their questions so much and after you repeat your answers, it really helps you to feel more comfortable, and hopefully you will not that nervous the next time. But yep.
Thank you very much, Lucy.
Yep, I would say just the preparation. Like you've been working as a tester since certain time, so you definitely might have seen one of the bug probably you didn't notice, like which you are proud of. You probably didn't really put an eye on. I think the preparation, like all our questions, smoke, usability, or agile, or scrum, or the bug, you just need to take a pause, go back of your work, what you have done. You will definitely find an examples in your own work to pull it out. And that's the preparation probably you need to do. And nervous is absolutely fine. I think that's nothing probably, but it's just the preparation. You have your own answers in your own experience. I believe you have to go back and analyze your work with the questions what you wanted to prepare. Yep.
Thank you very much.
All right, I think everybody just gave very nice feedback. I want to add my couple cents here as well. So my suggestions would be the same as I said to candidate number 2. Without experience, same thing. You have to do your homework, even if you have experience, especially with the experience. If you have 2.5 years of experience, so this very simple opening questions should be not a problem, even if you are nervous, because you're just sharing your experience, right? You don't need to come up with something. Specifically, if you work with an offshore team and you have time difference, oh my God, there's so many things going on, and I couldn't feel it that you didn't describe. You just, that's, people just want to know, like, we want to know, like, what was your main challenges, how did you come up with them? How did you overcome those challenges? Because this is very real world scenarios,
Okay.
And again, like Roman, I love how Roman is catching issues in the resumes. Yes, exactly. Like your homework should be going through, put your resume to Grammarly, the freaking Grammarly. It's free. It is free, and effort is like 2 minutes of effort, but it will give you like very basic mistakes. And obviously you need someone who can read your resume as well. Maybe another experienced guy, even the experienced guy, they can also do mistakes. But yeah, try to give some more people to read your resume. That's pretty much it. And thank you very much for being courageous.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, candidate number 3. Do we have candidate number 4? Ready? Oh, wow. Nice background.
Hello, can you see?
Yes, we can see.
My resume?
Yeah, we can see your resume clearly. And all right, let's start. You have 4 minutes. And candidate number 4, please tell us about yourself and your recent experience.
Okay, first, I will also say thank you to everybody to give opportunity for us as a bootcamp or no experience to introduce ourselves. I'm a candidate number 4, and I have studied bootcamp and got experience from there and the knowledge. I have worked on Mac and Windows platforms. I have knowledge of SDLC methodologies like waterfall and agile. In our bootcamp, we have practiced agile. In this time, I have developed both test cases and the scenarios. So I am experienced with both of them, manual and automation testing. And to speak about my technical skills, Java is my primary language. I use Selenium WebDriver to automate my tool testing. I developed my current framework with Cucumber, Cucumber framework and JUnit. I did UI, database and API testing where I'm using Postman and REST Assured for database validation, MySQL and JDBC. For version control, we are using Git. And for tracking our bugs, we are using Jira. According to my personality, I am pretty positive, interactable, communicable, willing and eager to learn. In 3 words, I can say that I'm adaptable, accessible, and accountable. In addition to this, my project, I started in UTest Academy as a manual tester. I'm actively there. I'm doing manual testing in web and mobile applications. I'm doing exploratory testing where I'm attaching screenshots, screen records, and console logs. I didn't also hear you mention my last project where I started in November as an internship, unpaid internship, because it took too long time for getting the duties. It was, I would like to tell about this project that I didn't mention here in my resume. This project is designed for kids who are aged 13 and 17 in order to prevent suicide. It's a mobile app where we can, where the parents and teacher can track their emotions while kids are playing their games. There are some questions they need to answer. How does he feel today? How was his school? And while they're answering, these tracks go to their parents and teachers, the parents and teachers tracking. So, and there are also websites interface for parents and teachers where they can track these emotions of kids, and they are getting weekly reports and the emergency report, critical report. And right now I started doing manual testing on mobile application gaming. I'm writing test cases, and I'm right now it's a waterfall methodology where we have one time in a week meeting. Right now they are trying to do it 2 times and trying to convert to agile methodology where we can use Jira Kanban. And that's all.
Candidate number 4.
Yes.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
I thought you just disappeared for like
Oh,
10
no,
seconds.
that's all. Thank you. Sorry, I'm really nervous.
All
Hey,
right.
hi.
Hi again.
Hi. I wanted to know what made you to take this freelancing manual tester with the UTest Academy while you were doing an automation engineer with some project.
Okay, so this project is that's giving bootcamp, and everybody knows that it cannot be the real project. And you know, in order to automate, you have to do manual testing. So manual is the first step, and you need to start from the beginning. And I started doing manual testing where I really get how can I say, understand and learn what kind of bugs we can see really, and like functional, visual, content, crash, so on bugs, and getting feedbacks, doing the actual real project, writing the steps correctly, and the team lead gives feedback. Even you didn't write the step correctly, it goes back, it's not accepted. So you are learning, and you are doing different types of web and mobile applications. You are learning different type of applications and different type of cultures, how they are designed. And that's all why I started here from the beginning, with the real app.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I mean, if it's a continuous question, you can go ahead, Roman.
It's not a continuous question. I just still feel a little bit confused because candidate number 4, correct me if I'm wrong. So you said that in order to do the automation, you want to start from the beginning and to do the manual testing, right? But in your resume, automation is before manual. So I'm a bit confused.
Sorry? In my resume, no, manual comes and then automation. Where do you?
The automation engineer starts from November 2019 and the manual starts from August 2020.
Yes. Let me say like this, because yes, I will explain why it's like this. We started with bootcamp, and the bootcamp had a project right now we are doing. And I started bootcamp and I was doing automation. After that, our project is going on. I learned that there's also UTest Academy that we can practice also manual real project. And I started doing the real project with a payment, manual testing. It's this one is a project of the bootcamp that we are doing.
Okay, then yeah, it's probably worth mentioning that.
Mm-hmm. No, I started bootcamp as automation engineer, and that I was having that project I had there. I'm practicing automation and manual, but here and after in August, I realized there is a U-test, and I also start doing U-test in a real projects.
Okay, cool.
So in your bootcamp as an automation engineer, can you, was there any challenge inspecting the elements, which is of like first step for the automation engineer?
Could you repeat again? I'm trying to understand.
On a page, if you have 50, you have like a number of fields based on a page, what you're going to automate. What was the challenging,
yes, I can
which
say
you could remember?
The challenging here, while I was doing manual testing, I got job titles, API testing, let's say Postman, I had job titles, and it was more than 50. Manual, it took time. So first 10 were matching when I was doing, then I went automation. It makes it faster to automate it. Did you have this one like this?
Yeah, but what was the challenges?
Challenges? The challenge here that I had in automation, for example, when I get countries names manually, I didn't recognize, for example, United States, it was US. In API, I had United States. Sorry, in API, I had United States, but in UI, I have US. I said, yes, it's matching. For example, I had Kyrgyzstan. In UI, I had KR, let's say, the shortness form. When I started doing automation, it was really, really hard because I couldn't do everything. I cannot substring them. Their codings were different. For example, Kyrgyzstan, the first 2 letters, I have to put substring them. United States, 0 index from the 6th or 7th index, let's say, and it was hard coding for me. It was really challenging to do all of the automation, hard coding, this part. Did I understand your question?
Yeah. Thank you. Yep.
I can go next. So you're mentioning rest assured.
Yes.
So can you please elaborate a little more on how and where you've used it?
Rest assured, I used it with my Java in order to automate the Postman API. I used Java library rest assured to connect to the URI, and after that, there have a given when then keywords where in given I'm giving the headers, JSON application, and the headers, let's say, and in when I'm giving the endpoint and the method that then from where I need to get the answer, and in then I'm asserting it, or I'm not using then, I'm using JUnit assertion in order to make assertion. For automation, I'm using it for API.
Okay.
Candidate number 4, what's your aspiration? What do you want to thrive in? Is it more the automation portion, or is it more the the functional testing. I'm just curious, what is the area that you want to thrive in?
Thrive in?
Yeah.
If I'll say both of them, will it be so proficient like that? I will be both of them, because even when we are automating, we need to know manual. Most of the companies right now want to have both of them, manual and automation. And I won't be proficient both of them. And while doing manual testing, you are like a user. You need to be really, how can I say, detail orientated, and try to find all of the scenarios that you can do. And automations depend on the manual. You are giving the prepared things, and you are just automating them, and being so real or detailed to the codes too, because you need to, even one letter, for example, in token, or if you will not update it, it will not work. Both of them, you need to be proficient. I want to be proficient on that way, both of them.
Okay. And so with your current job in UTAS Academy, I understand it's a freelancing opportunity, but is there any time where you try to automate with what you have learned from your previous automation to automate what you're doing manually?
No, and it's kind of 1 or 2 weeks ago, I found that there is also the department that we can also practice automation, but here I'm just doing manual testing. And I also said that I also was doing unpaid internship. I'm the first QA there, and it was before the developers were doing this. And right now they are trying to build the QA environment and trying to put it to agile, and it will take, I think, long time to make it, because after 1 month I could get the documentation about the project, and right now it's 2 or 3 weeks I started doing manually.
Got it. Okay, and then just so I understand, the internship you have mentioned, is that the second portion, the project QA automation engineer?
This one, no, I didn't write it here, but I wanted to mention it, because why I didn't write it, because I was just attending to the meeting. As I said, I'm the first QA in this company, and they weren't ready, and they are trying to collect all the documentation to me, what I need to read, what I need to understand. And most of the developers are, as me, unpaid developers. They are doing internship and a little bit mix it. And right now we are trying to make the QA environment where I can understand everything. And I started to doing actively, so that's why I didn't write it, because I thought, if there is nothing to do, how can I mention it here right now? But I started it, actively doing it, so I can mention it.
Got it. I'm just curious, how long have you been in that internship?
Excuse me?
How long have you done the internship?
It's 1.5 months I started.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's just beginning. Yes.
I see. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a little bit more about your experience in the UTest platform?
Yes.
What kind of project you accept, and what is your rating there?
Right now,
I'm sorry. We're out of the time, but please explain this question, like try to explain in a minute.
Okay, I'm a prune right now there, and right now I'm continuously in a project Facebook, but I was in backcountry, some web applications, mobile poker applications. I also was there. I found functional, visual, content box, but mostly functional.
Got it. Thank you.
And one crash, as I remember.
Perfect.
Awesome. All right, dear managers, let's go with a follow-up feedback.
I can go since I was last.
Yep.
So thank you so much for your time and for explanation of all the experience. I really like how your energy, how you start to answer the question. So regarding to the U-test, it's really nice that you have there, not the unrated rating, that you have the rate actually there. And I suggest to put that to your resume so everyone can understand what is your status right there. And I also suggest probably mentioned through the one line to put the old project that you was working there, not like with all the details and explanation, but at least like you can mention like the name of the application or the name of the website. So at least it will give us the visibility of how many projects you was working on the U-test and what kind of project. It was the mobile app or it was the web application. So for us, it's important to understand like the real experience from that platform, because a lot of people put that as experience and really do not work there. And if you can prove that you actually do the work there, it will be wonderful, like to see from your resume.
Thank you. I'll do it.
I can go next. So yeah, first of all, great energy. It certainly shows. So I would repeat it once again. So the resume, how it's structured, it looks a bit confusing that automation comes before U-tests, and it also feels like at least to me, that you're a little bit unsure as to what you want to do yourself, because at the same time you put the practical training for SDAT right at the same time as you're working as a manual tester. So it's all like a little bit cumbersome. So I would recommend thinking it through, which area you really would want to develop deeper and showcase it more on the resume.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep, I would go quickly. So in my question towards the automation, you said about the country codes, United States and all other country codes, and how you hard coded. In automation, we need to try our best not to hard code anything.
Yes, exactly.
In a real world, we probably have a table where the conversions to the country and the code is already happened. So in the automation, we try to connect to the database, pull that table and take those codes and then try to validate with the UI. So I just wanted to answer that particular thing. And rest all, yeah, I agree to what Lucy and Roman said. Wish you good luck.
Thank you.
You're muted, Edith.
Oh my God, this happened so many times already. I want to speak so many times.
No worries, no worries.
Totally agree with all the panelists, and specifically the flow of the resume. It does seem a little hard to get a theme for the resume. Secondly, your internship, I think it's a great opportunity to get real world experience. And I totally understand why you don't want to add anything right now, but highly, highly recommend that when you do have things to show, to add that to the resume and to have that in the theme or in the flow of your resume.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, and the other thing to add, actually, you've mentioned the Preventing Suicide Among Cakes project, right? Once again, so yeah, that certainly I think is worth mentioning. I would agree.
Yes, the project I really liked. It's kind of prevent, and their kids can choose their sexual, that male or female, but also sexual orientation in order to, maybe they cannot say to their parents or to their teachers, so parents can track how it's going, their emotional, and they can get, if they're alerted, prevented their according to their emotions.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. I think we're also running out of the time, but good job, candidate number 4. Anyway, maybe that's only my opinion, my humble opinion. Maybe you need to reformat your the resume, because it looks not really standard, and for some cases it can actually work towards to you, but I think you should make it more standard, so easy to read. Anyway, good luck and good job. Thank you very much. And we have questions again, like from people who getting late, like how to participate in mock interview sessions. And I'll give you one more teaser. So the next mock interview session will be on January 16, I believe. I'll post the link here, or Ira, if you could you please post the link of our meetup. But again, you have to sign up through the form. There is a Google form. Just fill out the Google form. Then you have to get into the Slack channel and to participate in our further onboarding sessions, which is a mandatory. So all our candidates who participating today, they went through this process. So they also were in our onboarding session. We don't do any filtering again, but we just making sure that you understand right, that we're going through the logistics, and that's pretty much it. One more thing, a teaser. I haven't announced it yet, but we're going to launch the private mock interview sessions. I'm not sure when we're gonna launch it. Maybe it's gonna be next week or within next 2 weeks. You will definitely will have an access. But this is a paid version of this mock interview session. So any of you who here, if you don't want to participate in a public event like this, and you don't want to see yourself on the YouTube, however, nothing embarrassing to hear is is that. But if you still don't want to do this, you're welcome to go through our mock interview, which will be private. I will announce it in our Slack channel as well, okay? All right. And we have time for candidate number 5. I hope candidate number 5 is ready.
Hello, I'm here.
All right. Finally, yes, congratulations. That was a long waiting. I hate to be the last one, to be honest. But yeah, again, thank you for joining us, and please share your resume.
Let me know if you see it.
Yeah, we can see it. So you have 4 minutes. Please tell us about yourself and your recent projects, working or educational projects. Go ahead.
Thank you. So hello again. Thank you so much for inviting me on such a great event. I'm happy to be here. I'm candidate number 5. I'm applying, as you see, for entry-level software QA engineer position because I'm new to this IT technology field. I moved to US in 2017 as a graduated person from Technical University. I started to work as a construction estimator, and I've been working in this role for 3 years. When the pandemic started, our company had 2 months break because of the lockdown. So during that period, I watched a lot of video content about self-improvement and so on. And one day, the recommended video popped up about the software testers. So I was really impressed to know about this profession, because before I've never heard before about this profession. And I watched more and more videos about the software development process and so on. And after 2 months, 2 months later, when my company back work in the office, I noticed that, I do estimating job, but still thinking about the QA. So finally, one day, I made a decision to quit my job and apply for IT bootcamp. I finished it successfully. And also, just a couple words about the bootcamp. We practice on the real project, and the bootcamp covered all the basics of the software development process, all about the all the roles in the QA team, in the team of software development. And also in the middle of this course, I started to work on the excellent platform, which is called UTest. I had an opportunity to work on mobile-based and web-based applications created by famous companies as Starbucks, Hallmark, Facebook, what else? 23andMe also. So it gave me a huge motivation. So I decided to move on, to practice more, to sharpen my skills, learn more. And for now, I think I'm ready to be a part of the real software development team, track and test software from the very beginning, and help my previous experience help me with that. So if you don't mind, I will move to my project.
Yeah,
I'm so nervous.
You have 1 minute. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I'll be short. So most of the UTest project I worked on, I signed a non-disclosure agreement. So I decided that I would like to tell you about the project in my bootcamp. It was simple web-based personal audio streaming service. It's user-friendly, and if you ever worked with SoundCloud or you use Spotify, you will find out how it works maybe in a second. So you can search music by artists, albums, you can search the songs. There's also remote control, so you can play, pause the song. For that project, my team and I created a mind map. Then we distributed the features and the main functionalities among team members, cases, and connected them into a test cycle. My responsibility was to cover current queue function, where I found a huge bug. It was the song was not playing in the current queue page, and I think it's like a crash of the software, which is music streaming service. On this project, we also worked with the databases by creating SQL requests, sending them to receive required information. We also send API calls to receive response code from server. My first code I received was, I believe it was 401 because of wrong token, but most of other response code I received were 200. So we also practice a lot of types of software testing on particular this project. That is why I like it the most. So if you have some follow-up questions, I will be happy to answer them. Do you hear me?
Yes, you're right on time. Who want to start first?
I can start. So candidate number 5, in your resume, you have manually testing software and mobile apps, writing tester reviews to help clients identify potential setbacks, defects. What does write tester reviews mean?
Writing tester reviews. On some test cycles, there was a requirement to report a bug, to execute test case, and the third task was writing a tester review. So it's like how to say, it's like analyzing how the software working from the tester's side. So how it's functioning, if it works correctly. So you also analyze performance of the software. Is it easy to use or not?
Got it.
Like it is, sort of interrupting. It's like a short feedback from the tester.
Got it. Okay, and then are you providing a list of criteria that you're supposed to fill out, or it's just based on your own personal kind of expectation of the software?
So there was a list of criteria. Yeah,
there was.
You can just fill it out and send the tester review.
Got it. Thank you.
Thanks.
I can go next. So in your second bullet point on the summary, you mentioned that you perform the web and mobile-based application testing in testing and staging environment. Can you describe me what the difference between those two environments?
Sure. The main difference between testing a staging environment is that staging environment looks almost exactly like the production version of the software, and you test in this environment and see how the software will look like in how the user see it. Sorry.
So let's say you have a new feature. How the testing for that new feature happens and where on which environment?
New feature?
Yep.
I believe new feature will get in testing environment.
And then when the testing happens on the staging, or you are not implementing the testing on staging?
I believe staging environment starts after the regression testing. I believe so. Maybe I'm wrong, but staging environment, it's like pre-production environment. As from my side of understanding.
Got it. Cool. Thank you.
Yep, I had a same question too, like difference of testing between, because I think on your resume, when you made that as a second point, saying testing, you perform testing in testing, staging, and production environment. So we probably would like to know what difference is it? Like if it's a new project, if it's a new feature, what kind of test you perform in test environment, and then what test strategy you would use in staging, and what would you use in a production, and at what level of in the cycle of testing, when would you shift from environment to environment? So details of that probably we would expect when that's the point. And moving on to your work experience on your resume, I feel you can, it looks more casual to me, the third and fourth bullet points there. Report somewhat very and exceptionally valuable issues. And the next point, which says execute test cases based on requirement and write easy, reproducible issues reports, if any. Maybe you need to try rewriting those 2 points. It sounds very casual statements than being like a resume points. Yep, thank you.
Okay, one moment. Thank you for explaining me one more time about first of all, the second bullet, testing, staging, and production environment. So production environment means that this application is already exist and it's ready for users, and you can open the website, for example, 23andMe, and you tested it in production environment. Stage environment and means that when the software is ready for release, but we would like to test it to make sure everything works fine. And test environment when we just receive a fresh feature. Thank you. Sorry for taking that long.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I have a question. So let's say you are given Google.com website to test, and you have 24 hours for the sake of this question. No requirements are given, and the idea is the only requirement is you decide what to test, how to test, and basically as much as possible. So what would your high-level approach be on this?
Okay, so I will start in this situation. I will start from testing main functionalities of the of this website, google.com. The first will be the search field, because the main function is the searching the information, right? Then I will test the result field, the result, how to say, okay, well, it will be a result field, the searching field. Then I will test the results, which are the main functions. And then I will go to less important functions. So I will start from important and then to go less important.
Okay.
And I probably ask one more question. So on the tools, you have the other tools, the last line, and you mentioned there a plus. Can you describe me how you use this tool and for what?
Plus, yeah, sure. I want to mention that because I worked on the UTest platform, and it worked with Applause tool, which also help us to work in that system, to report bugs, to receive invitations, and it closely work with hundreds. Sorry, or so Applause to help us testers on the UTest platform to receive invitations, to accept slots, accept test cycles, report bugs, and execute test cases.
Got it. So it's actually related more to the UTest platform. So that's why I really suggest you to delete that from the other tools, because this has nothing to do with like the general tools that people can use. This is related more to the UTest, but you can include that to their bullet point that you have for the UTest, that you actually use this Applause tool, and then you can give more details for what reason you use it. But I would suggest to delete that from the other tools.
I will, thank you.
All right, guys, I think we can start with feedback. Lucy, you want to start?
Yeah, there. My question related to the staging and test environment. At first, like you were lost a little bit, and it's okay. It's the same as it was with the candidate number 3. You have to take the deep dress, like you know the answer, but you have to maybe do the pause and remember and make the structure in your head before you actually start your answer, because then you really got it, but it took a time, and it's actually the other like manager ask you the same question. So this is the time when you got your answers. But yeah, overall, I like the way how you talk to us, like you were comfortable, and your answer was good. Cool. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Who want to be next?
I think I went with my feedback while I was also asking the questions.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I mean, I agree with what Lucy said. Wish you good luck. Yeah, just practice more, prepare more. I think preparation is a key for every interview. We need to be prepared with what we have written in the resume. There is like infinite number of questions probably if you just open and then prepare. But when you comes to your resume, we need to be confident for every single word what we have written on a resume and justify our answers with that. If we are not so confident and not so familiar with any bullet point or anything in our resume, it's okay to delete them, remove them, and just have it what you are confident and comfortable in. That shows a very good, that will drive towards a success interviews. Yep.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Yeah, I really agree with that. You know, the resume is kind of like free for all, right? For managers to ask the questions. So definitely the preparation and also the typos in resumes are like, for example, the one I see here is Sauce Lab. Yeah, I think especially if you're interviewing for a QA position, all the QA managers are very, very much detail oriented, and they're gonna be extra picky with stuff like this. So definitely, I would look into that. And then yeah, just practice the questions with somebody, right, before the interview, so that it flows much better.
Thank you. It was my first interview.
Roman?
Yeah, I don't have much to add to what's already been said. So just overall, more practice, more preparation, and yeah, those are the key.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just maybe want to comment like about the title, entry-level software QA engineer. I would remove entry level because let managers decide what level you are. Because for some managers you could be an entry level, for some managers you could be you know, just regular level software QA. And yeah, overall, good job. Let's do the poll. I think that would be interesting. Thank you very much, candidate number 5. You can stop sharing the screen. And we have about 40 participants here. So what I want to do, guys, managers, please, let's write your, not the feedback, like we want to see which candidate you would invite to the real interview. If you would have openings, or like if you would have particular openings for, let's say, for entry level or QA analyst or something like that, you can say candidate number, whatever number, and why, right? Would you invite him? And that's it. And for our audience, I'm sending the poll right now. So we want to see their choice as well. Like, which candidate would you like to choose? We have 5 candidates, so I'll give you guys all like 1 minute. And managers, please do not vote in the poll that I just posted. Just send it in our Slack channel. If you're not in Slack, maybe you can send me in a private message in a Zoom chat. But let me ping our chat here. Also, I will not disclose manager's name and their preference as well. So. Okay, I'm stopping the poll. I see we already have half of our audience voted. Okay, so what I can see, which candidate do you like the most? Our audience is pretty much similar to our manager's preference. Candidate number one, most of our participants choose candidate number 1. It's a 59%. Candidate number 4, second place, 32%, and candidate number 5, third place, 18%. Congrats, guys, and let's see what our managers said. Okay, awesome. So all managers voted for candidate number 1. One of our managers, and I actually agree with her. I like also candidate number 4. I think we could give her a chance if the requirements would be 20 to 40 automation. And again, like to candidate number 4, maybe she need to a little bit reformat her resume, to work on her resume. But overall, I like that. Awesome, great. I think that was a really interesting outcome. And we actually, in today's session, the audience opinion and manager's opinion matched. In previous session, it wasn't matched. That was something interesting. Anyway, we have like maybe 5 more minutes. Let's do a summary and maybe what we can suggest to our candidates. Since we have 2 candidates, definitely they were fresh out of, actually 3, I don't remember, candidate number 2, candidate number 5, and candidate number 1. Oh no, number 1 was actually with a bit experience. Number 2 and number 5 was without experience, and I understand they are struggling the most since they are transitioning. So what would you guys suggest? What just a few words from me. What I see, like this is our session number 8, and the mistakes are all the same. Typos on the resumes and formatting of the resumes, right? So kind of the very first initial preparation, they need to work on it much more, right? This is something which is never getting old. What do you guys would suggest and think? I want to start.
Yep. Preparation is the key for sure. Like for any interview, for any interviewer, even the managers prepare for the interview. It's not just the candidates. So it's in the both ways. So preparation is definitely a key, according to me, and that drives your interview towards the success. Whatever skill set you have, whatever you put on your resume, just try to. For the candidate number 2, 3, 5, and almost all any candidate, I would recommend you to at least go through your resume every day, like daily once. Take a practice to read your resume. Does it make sense to you? And are you prepared with all the statements you have written on it? If not, rewrite them. If not, prepare for them. So that will make you look better and get through the interviews.
Yep, totally good.
Yeah, my feedback is that when I look at resumes, I look for progression. I look for progression of, whether it's knowledge, experience, and example of candidate number 5, right? You've only had 2 months of experience. It's completely okay with not putting all the tools and languages in there. That's not the expectation of the manager, for you to master all these in 2 months. Yeah, and then just have somebody else read your resume, right? Maybe they will catch something that, because you wrote it, so having another set of eyes might just give a different perspective.
Awesome.
I didn't say nothing new, like the preparation, this is the key, as everyone just mentioned. I just have the suggestion to use the website that calls prompt.com. You can schedule the interview with the other people. Yep, it will be not exactly the same as here, because the person who will interview you, it's not like always possible that it will be the QA person, but still the behavior question that people will ask you, they most likely will happen on your real interview. And it's always good to do like those exercises to talk to people that you don't know, just to feel that strength inside of you that you can do that, and you practice it. And I believe this is really help you guys. I will send you the link to the chat in the Zoom, but I really recommend that website. It's free, and you can practice not just the QA skills, but more behavior questions for the interview.
Awesome. Roman?
Yeah, one thing I can add here, and I feel that's especially valid for all entry-level people, because that's where there's like the most struggle. So try to also sometimes think bigger picture. So when you're given a project, how would you approach it? What are the main things you would start focusing on? All right, so it's not just like some detail here and there, but also just overall picture. Yeah, hope I'm explaining it clearly enough.
All right, guys, I think thank you very much all for your feedback and suggestions. I think today was very interesting session overall. And again, what Lucia said, please practice, go to pram.com, it's free. And when you're ready to take another mock interview with our managers, I will post a link for actually private mock interview with the managers. And yeah, just follow up us on the YouTube and Slack, and let's keep in touch. And thank you very much for your time today. And everyone, good luck. All right.